And we're live. Hey, I'm Paul Ash. This with me, this handsome, smiling man, is the Karl Knox. This is They Talk Funny. We're talking to two comedians about comedy, writing, and the current events of the world as well as the life. And I can't think of a better comic to be talking about current events and hope for the future, or at least the future, if there's no hope.
There is
And
no hope.
the,
Yeah.
the fantastic Karl Knox. Karl, how have you been? It's been a while.
I've been okay. It's getting long now. Just now.
just,
Now,
just
yeah. And I've been masking since March. I take care of my mom. I'm the only person she sees. So as soon as this came up, they were actually weirdly telling you not to wear a mask. But everything I'd read on science pages said no, mask wearing is better. I've been wearing a mask since March, and my mother hasn't got it, so I haven't killed my mother, which is like an actual possibility here. That's an actual thing, and I don't think I'm alone. Where this I'm the only person who could give it to their parent that they take care of. It's more than a little frightening because if I could live with having killed my mother, it would have happened already.
yes, yeah. So it's a good thing that this hasn't made it easier, an easier process. Uh,
Oh, great.
now,
Yeah, so it's
for people who aren't familiar with you, you hosted a radio show on CJLO called Your Media Sucks. Your comedic style, I don't think you're not just rant, you're not just storyteller. How would you describe your comedy style?
yeah. Actually, towards the end, I was towards November when I did the last few shows. Um, um, I didn't do. I think maybe I did a couple of shows in December, and then I was taking time off because I had watched this video by George Carlin, and it's 10 perfect minutes by George Carlin. I mean, it's perfect. Um, 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 it's the routine for anybody who's listening who knows the bit. He talks about how it's a big club and you ain't in it. This is as good as it's ever going to get. They don't want a well-educated populace out there because the owners of this country, and that's what he talks about, the owners of this country. Anyhow, it's perfect, right? It's funny. He hits every note. It's poignant. It's smart, and it didn't change a freaking thing. So I was having a real rethink about some of the things I was talking about on stage when the pandemic hit. And so I guess I like current events a lot. I like to. I mean, I guess in some level it's like shooting evil people in a barrel. Um, um, it is, I mean, some of the
Yeah.
people they're so stupid. I mean, there was that lady I was telling you when we were talking earlier. That lady, when I saw the news story, that whole night I walked around the house going, "Lasers from space."
Marjorie Taylor
You know,
Greene.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and she,
Representative.
and of course I even missed the part. I was just so entranced by the lasers from space. I didn't even know that she had said they were Jewish lasers
Yeah.
from space, and
Like they've been
I,
circumcised.
you can circumcise a laser? You can circumcise with a laser, but anyhow, it was just so stupid. I don't know how like the Jewish people end up being scapegoated like every time, but that's one of the dumber ones. She said they started the fires in California.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she's a mean woman, mean ornery woman, man. Some of these women, the Karens of the world are legion. And I never realized. I always loved women so much.
Even McConnell has just recently said something unflattering about her. So, uh,
Yeah, yeah. He called her. I think he might have called her a cancer.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, if someone's got to know what a human-shaped cancer cell would look like,
Wow,
uh,
that guy. Yeah, there's some bad people. So, that was the thing, right? I like to make fun of things, but things were getting so much more partisan. So there was a divide. So there was no real laughing at kind of like from a both sides perspective. It was just
yeah.
all partisanship, and we're not even arguing about politics anymore either. We're just talking about good and evil. And there's a whole bunch of people who, for some reason, feel it's necessary. Evil needs to be defended. We need to defend torture and shooting people in the head when they're unarmed. Yeah, defend that. They've been defending the worst things in the world, and it started in 2004 with Abu Ghraib when they defended torturing those people. Remember the stacks of people having been tortured, and people smiling, and the big thumbs up from that lady who
Yeah.
was obviously psychotic.
Just
So they've been defending the worst things in the world, and I guess I don't know. Anyway, so I just realized at some point, my father said to me, "Son, you can't tell nobody nothing, so shut up." And you can't change people's minds, and I never really wanted to, but it always, like, in the end, I guess because it's so partisan, it sounds like that's what you're trying to do, so it takes the fun out of it. And I was just trying to find another way. I like funny, goofy stuff too. I used to do a bunch when I started in the business, and it did rather well.
so did Carlin though. Carlin, the hippy dippy weatherman.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's fun stuff.
the his early appearances on the Tonight Show with
Yeah,
Carson.
all,
Like,
all that class clown stuff, that was
yeah,
wonderful. Yeah, I like
yeah,
that. Yeah, I must have listened to that album about 400 times.
yeah. But then
Yeah,
he evolved into like doing that 10 perfect minutes that you mentioned.
right. And it's interesting though. In the 90s, I actually found him like what's this? I actually found him like really curmudgeonly, and he wrote a
Mhm.
couple little books, and he threw in a whole bunch of jokes. One I think is called Brain Droppings, and it was appropriately named because it just didn't seem like it came from the pen of George. But I think he just got a little cranky there, and then it evolved into what was really, I think, yeah, a brilliant
His core
period of
beliefs.
comedy for him. Well, yeah, it was brilliant comedy, yeah, so smart, so thoughtful, and he was still having fun with it. He can still be playful.
Yeah.
As we watch this stuff unfold, it gets harder and harder to be playful. I've written some abortion jokes while at home. Yeah, no, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I love all kinds of comedy. I just wonder after the pandemic, though, do you think that people will want to hear monologues? Are you going to want to hear a talking head, or would you rather hear, like, how about dialogue? I'm
Comedy
tired of
duos.
monologues. Comedy duos, yeah, I'm kind of tired of monologues myself, and monologuers, and everybody's got Netflix, so you can watch like the best stand-ups, pretty much that ever were. A lot of really talented people, and see, everything they have to say for free.
I view that more as a pacifier because like if you watch a recording of a band, it's not as good as watching the band live.
Yeah,
And
that's very
I view
true.
comedy is the same way. It's something you kind of need to see and experience live.
Yeah, you
Uh,
really do. Different people, you move a different, use the same material and move rooms a different way every night. Especially, yeah, the very very good comics.
yeah,
It's a treat, and yeah, it's much better live. No, it's not like the Netflix experience. You're right.
yeah. It's if you also take a look though, uh, music videos, the evolution that happened in the late 70s, early 80s when they were originally just designed to sort of sell an album to a radio station. And then people started airing these music videos. And then they became more of a production rather than just the band playing.
And then they went too far, and it
Yeah.
stopped altogether.
Yeah. Then now, and that's why the music video stations now do reality shows. What?
But yeah. Yeah, no, there were actually some great videos in the early '80s. I like that analogy. That was fun stuff. But then they did go too far. By the end of the '80s, they were making ridiculously silly videos, and people just stopped watching them. It's like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I remember.
have you
Yeah,
have you seen what is it, WAP?
WAP. I looked it up. It took me.
Get the translation and
Yes, I looked it up. And what do you mean? Have I seen it?
well, no, they actually did a music video for it with probably as much CGI as some superhero films, and
Oh, really?
yeah, it,
Okay,
it,
no,
it,
I did not see that. Yeah, did it have a typewriter with a talking vagina? What was going on there?
No, but there was scenes involving jungle cats and a lot of clapback. I don't know what else to say about it. It's
Clapback, huh? Yeah, okay.
yeah. All right. Sorry, don't log off now to go watch it, Carl.
Okay. No, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah. There are a lot of things in the culture I have no interest in.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. It's such a big culture, it's much harder to reach people too. I mean, before the pandemic hit, I don't know what it's going to be like post pandemic. What do you think about trying to reach people post the pandemic?
Um, uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. That's what kind of why I do this show is so I can ask the learned professionals about this. I'm hoping that people we talked a little bit before we started. You were talking that you actually took a look at the 1920s, that you were at what people were doing after the Spanish flu and what they how society sort of reacted, and you had some good insight there. And I'll ask you to sort of repeat yourself because the people that we have
um,
listening here now weren't privy to that conversation. So hello to the people who are watching. Hit like, press subscribe if you like what you're doing. If you have any questions for Karl, just drop them into the chat, um, please and thank you.
yeah, no, I was just looking to see what people were rushing out to do post the pandemic, and the twenties roared for lots of reasons, but yeah, people it initially what drove it was getting the hell out after the pandemic, and of course, people wanted booze, and booze was illegal. So
Yeah.
yeah, perfect, right? Yeah, that's perfect. Um,
Now weed is legal.
yeah,
Booze is legal. What do you think people are going to be rushing out for?
well, that's what I was wondering. Well, like, I think people will want to, I guess, get together and touch orgies, probably. Orgies will be, I don't know. Will we want to be with it? Can you have an orgy with everybody 6 feet apart? I don't know.
Do you think MDMA
Honest to goodness,
will
I
be the
really
new
did
one?
think
Or?
dialogues. I really did think dialogues. Entertainment wise, I think um, um, people will want to hear dialogue. Like, like, I mean, everything. I mean, you don't want it really to be binary, so not even dialogue. I'm tired of because nothing is black and white. It's a whole world of gray, and when you watch the politics, and I see people like dump all over everybody,
Yeah.
and I get it, but at some point, people have to understand that the lesser of two evils is a thing, and you have to make that choice. But it's tiresome though that it's always a binary choice, and somehow that I don't know how we're going to change that. But I really hope for change post the pandemic. I really hope we find a way to. I don't know. I miss nuance.
Yeah. Not just a social change, and you're not talking about just not just a political change. I mean, like a social change, a social shift, but and not just south of the border. You're talking in Canada as
Oh, I
well,
want to
or
in Canada. No, in Canada. I mean, south of the border, they have issues. I mean, I majored in history in university. They managed to put racism into their DNA in a way no other nation has. Other like European nations are racist, and we're racist, but not nobody does it like the Americans. Nobody,
they're
and they
number
did it.
one.
They did it early in their history. They did it. They did it by giving status to poor white slaves over poor black slaves. Because initially there were a whole bunch of slave rebellions that involved black and white slaves, cooperating. Hey, we're both getting screwed. Let's fight together. But they gave white people status, and that's been enough for like more than 400 years to keep them pacified and mollified over there. Happy being poor, the things that Americans vote against, to watch Americans vote against healthcare for themselves is mind-boggling. To watch billionaires spend their money and their time campaigning against healthcare for average Americans, and nobody calls them. Nobody says it's really disgusting that you, a billionaire, spend your time and your money funding organizations that fight to keep Americans from getting healthy. It's really putrid that you, David Koch, do this. But he funds the New York Metropolitan Opera, and he's a hero partially in New York. Oh, it's horrible. And I'm doing a good job of not swearing here. I'm impressed.
And for those of you tuning in, this is the happy hour that we call They Talk Funny. There is, I, you know, Montreal has a great example though that's of a similar bit. Was when the like the political powers that be sort of the pit the Irish against the French early on,
yeah. Sure.
with saying, well, to the French people who were demanding, better pay, better treatment, saying, yeah, but the Irish are working cheaper than you. It's out of our hands.
Divide and conquer has always worked.
Yeah.
More proof, just set the poor at the throats of the poor, and then, those on top taking extra profits during the pandemic. That's been mind-boggling to watch.
Bell Canada.
Bell Canada.
I did not say that. All right.
You're gonna lose your 5.
That's enough. See, that's the other thing is
the call goes out.
How have you been avoiding self-destructive behavior during this time?
I do work out as many days as I can. I had some like health issues here and there, and I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to go to the doctor. My cousin got COVID, and he's a journalist, and he got it covering Legault's pressers there early on, and so he got treated, and it turned out he had prostate cancer. And it had metastasized. Anyhow, like getting COVID saved him, so he's in the family. So I want to go get checked and so forth. But I'm afraid to go in. And besides, do they have time for me? They seem to be rather busy. So I wonder about this. So how did we get here? Why am I talking about my fears for cancer?
Well, okay, let's take a back step to what the show is supposed to be about, which is
comedy.
Your writing.
Writing. Writing. I still been writing jokes. I've been trying to write stories, like short stories and something funny, and science fiction-y, and it's hard, way harder than I thought it would be. I thought at this age I'd be able to complete it. But it's not like I've given up, but so I'm still writing comedy. For some reason, I'm still writing stand-up. So I sit down to try and write my story and so forth. And as a diversion to not write the story, I write stand-up. I write jokes. So I'm still writing jokes. I love comedy.
It is. Once it gets in, it hooks into you. You're kind of stuck. Do you set aside? Do you make this a daily task that every day at this time, or
with writing, yeah. So I generally I do a light workout and stuff. I don't know if I'm smoking more or less than I ever smoked. Probably a little bit less. I'm trying to just moderate. I was always that way, I'm 64 now. I turned and so I got this way because I was always able to moderate most of my worst habits, and I have friends. I'm lucky. My wife's here, and my boy, he's like 25 and he's stuck here. This all happened at a bad time, and he's stuck here in this house. And is this thing going to end, Paul? Do you have any inside info there?
I just have hope that it's going to end. Mike Gamache has just popped in to say, "Hey, Karl, it turns out you can teach an old dog new tricks." So
thank you.
I'm not sure exactly what that was in reference to, but
I'm an old dog. It's clear as a bell.
I think Mike's got 14 years on me, so
okay.
We're not that far apart, are we, Karl?
Actually, I had 13 years on you. You said you were 51, I believe.
Yeah. So
So I have 13 years on you.
Yeah, Mike's a year older than you are. So.
Okay. So maybe he picked up a trick. Good for Mike. Thank you, Mike. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I do a little exercise. I managed to do a little exercise. I hate the cold. And now we can't go for walks at night, which is bizarre. to me.
uh, that was my saving grace for exercise. It was
Right?
because I'm in Verdun, which is, it's not a, as busy as downtown or whatever, but
It's one of the
if
12
I
greatest neighborhoods in the world.
yeah, if I would go out at midnight, and I'd be able to take a nice long walk and not have to worry about, dodging people on a sidewalk or anything. I could
Yeah.
go to the park and keep a good pace, not have to worry about, bad lighting or stumbling or dodging around people who are sitting around coughing. And it was great. And then the 8 o'clock curfew comes in, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go walking when, when
Yeah.
everyone else is on the streets. And kids are still in school, which is one of the greatest vectors.
Yeah, and actually, there's a school right behind my house, and you can hear them screaming and shouting and playing and being children, and yeah, there's no tamping that down. The solution was, for everybody to stay home for 2 months, but capitalism, we discussed this, was having none of it. There was no way. We got to have some capitalism. You couldn't just shut everything down for 2 months. Just like 2 months, little furlough, 2 months furlough, nothing, no rents, no nothing, nothing's due. 2 months over, we pick right up where we were, but no, no, let's do it piecemeal and differently all over the world. That way, we guarantee a year from now we'll still be doing the same thing.
I, I, I did a show. Well, I did a show that was hosted and produced by somebody who's in Newfoundland, and another person on the show was from Newfoundland, and mentioned how great it was to run into the person who runs the show in the shopping mall earlier this week. And I was like,
Hmm.
you people are speaking foreign language to me. I was like, I had no comprehension of that, casual kind of interaction, let alone it
Oh.
being in a capitalist temple. But we're coming off
And
as a little bit communist as we're saying this. Not that.
are we? No, no. I think the spectrum has moved. Part of me is like I'm probably a fiscal conservative, really. I don't know. We only sound way to the left because things have gone so far to the
Far to the
right.
right.
Things have been so skewed. And one of the things on my show there, your media sucks. I was going to change it when I go back. I'm just going to talk about media bias because I don't think people really appreciate what media bias is. Um, um, I hear left wing press. There is no left
Hmm.
wing press. There may be a lot of left wing leaning journalists, but they all work for a corporate press that is interested in conservatism and making more money and not paying taxes and not being accountable for anything that they do. And that's who they work for. And the editors are the firewall there. So, some journalists are, indeed liberals, but
They have to get hired.
they
They're
have to get
collecting a
hired.
paycheck.
But if they have to collect a paycheck, so they have to cover the story they're told to cover and the way they're told to cover it. It's pretty much that way. And some stories don't get reported on, and that's because the editors don't send them out to cover those stories that are inconvenient to the narrative that they're putting out there. So that's kind of what like my radio show is about. It's just about like that bias, and it's kind of everywhere. And people don't really appreciate it. Like I still hear left wing, the left wing media, like it's insane. MSNBC is not left wing media. GE, they make armaments. They
Yeah.
like war. I don't want to like accuse them of being warmongers, but they make money when they sell their armaments and they're used and they're blown up, and then they replace them with new armaments.
Oh, better than that, they've found a new market for some of the stuff that they make, and that's police forces. Um,
Oh, they started passing that off. Actually, Joe Biden stopped that. That was one of his executive orders. He
hmm.
actually did that. He put a stop to that. That's nasty stuff. When you saw those protests last summer, that was terrifying. You have to have courage to go out and protest in some of those American cities. I mean, real courage, not 3 o'clock in the morning courage.
Yeah, I had a friend who actually has been on the Love Doctor show. Uh, he was live streaming protests in New York,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
and one of his live streams, like he would, like he was doing an Instagram story until he realized that there can be tracked and faces recognized and all that. But one of the ones that he managed to catch was the crowd stopping somebody from trying to break into a store, which was which
Right. Well,
kind
yeah,
of
but which is inconvenient to the narrative, right? Because it's always the lefties breaking into the store and smashing things down. And it turns out, and people were home and paying attention during the pandemic. It turns out right wingers run out to rat screw the protests. So people talk about these random acts of I guess violence. Violence against stores and violence against property. Why? What could be more terrible, Paul, than violence against property? Why could be so? Anyhow, that becomes the story, and it turns out it's a bunch of right wingers. They're deliberately just acting as
bad
as
agents.
as agents of chaos.
I
We
would
need Maxwell Smart.
yeah, exactly. Get Maxwell Smart on that one. Mike Amash is saying that's because the previous administration was not so covertly fascist.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, look,
I would
they're an
also
imperialist nation, so.
yeah, I would also say that I mean
But there is
these
a lesser of two evils. It is a thing.
yes, yeah, but let's face it, the lesser of two evils is still evil. That's
Right, but less evil. Like people were like losing their mind over Hillary. Trust me, Hillary
mm,
would not have been as bad as the last 4 years, and she would not have staged an insurrection if she got voted out in following 4 years of whatever that was we just went through there. What was it like? 25,000 lies, 30,000. I forget the number. Did you see it?
it was in the
Apparently,
20s, I think
they picked
25.
up pace. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it picked up pace towards the end. Apparently, he just out and out lying from about a month before the election when he knew he was going to lose. So everything he said was, it's going to be a lie.
I do believe there definitely were some, fascist bad actors going out and trying to take
Wow.
advantage, but I also think there was just some people who were just selfish. So they didn't care about either movement who would go out there looting and destroying just because they thought they could, because a lot
Mm.
of the media presented that, oh, this is going to happen. And so they go, well, I never threw a brick through a store window before. Or, I really would like that fender. It's like the people who don't follow hockey in Montreal, lining up beside HMV during a Habs game because they figured, this is a chance to get some
It's been a
albums.
while since that happened. That was the
Yeah.
'90s. We used to win back then. Actually, no, it did happen with Boston in this century too. We beat Boston, and Montreal beat Boston in 7 games, and they decided it was a good excuse to loot stuff. Yeah, no, it was different south of the border. What was going on? It was kind of unprecedented, and yeah, I don't
Do you
know.
remember the manager of Steve's?
Yes.
Do you remember what he said when during it was because Steve's music got broken into during a Black Lives Matter protest here in Montreal?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was very cool. I remember that now. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he said exactly. Tell us.
I can't remember the exact quote, but to summarize, it was kind of like uh, if
Not a
I'm
big
losing a
deal in the
guitar, that's
scheme
a
of
lot
things.
better than a black suspect losing his life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We started talking about that at some point about like the level of racism there. It's weird, and yeah, I don't know how they fix that. I feel like that's the thing about the 74 million votes there. I feel a lot of those people voted for him because he was being mean to the same people that they hate, you know?
Yeah.
And so I find that sad, but I don't know how you change that dynamic. I remember when I was young, there was affirmative action programs, and yeah, they spent years on doing them, but they seem to be going in the right direction. It wasn't great back then, but at least there was direction. I'd like to see direction. Have you liked Biden so far? Has he surprised you?
Uh well, how many executive orders now? This is
Followed
like
this guy forever, and he surprised the hell out of me. Everything about him so far has surprised me, and I think, and nobody's talking about it. I think it might be because his Republican colleagues, who he's always very close with, he was always very tight, always gave them the benefit of the doubt, and he gave us like the Anita Hill thing, and yeah, this is what is a lynching on TV. What was the line he used? Anyhow, he's always been, a perfect, like a laissez-faire capitalist. More of that than, let's say, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Democratic Party ideals were, and um, and so I was expecting really more of the same, and I better him than Trump. But I think something happened, and I think it might be because Republicans attacked his child, attacked his kid, and Trump lied about his kid, and Trump lied about him, and they all stood by and did nothing. His colleagues,
Yeah.
his friends, all these people he always gave the benefit of the doubt to, and for some reason that's not part of the story in the narrative in the media. But I think I don't know. I'd be PO'd if I was him. How about you? Your kid. Imagine the things they said about his kid. Imagine that.
No, that would be.
You know,
Yeah.
I'd be
No,
declaring a fatwa on these bastards. Seriously, I'm not kidding, man. you know?
I think you have to have a religion before you can do that, Karl.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
well, okay. It's a nice word. I can picture a sword, coming down on someone's fool. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
probably bannable, but yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
Yeah.
who do you think is the most dangerous right now to peace in the states? Right at this
Actually, you know
point.
what? I got to actually. I wanted to say this, and I forgot what I want to say. And I think this is massively important. And people can take a deep breath and just like chill a little bit. Um, um, Before that January 6th insurrection, for the month before, there were all these ads and all these pictograms and all these little posters inviting every maniac in the United States who liked their guns and whatever it was Trump was doing to
Mhm.
show up for their little January the 6th party. Now, some of those people were actually paid. The people that came were actually paid. So, in a country of 330 million, some of them were paid to come um, um, and call their friends. And,
Yeah. Clarence Thomas's
and
wife paid for
oh my
buses and
God,
food.
what
Yeah.
a terrible human being. And of course, so was Clarence, though. So, anyway, Um, um, so with this clarion call to all the maniacs, to all the violent militia, whatever crazies, only 15,000 showed up. So I actually think that it's not so bad. I actually think like dangerous. Like, I mean, guys like Holly will always be dangerous. But I think it's a lot more secure than they want. I think they want us to feel a little fear, a little worry, a little bit of anxiety. When I say they, I guess the media, or at least the message that comes from the media. Um,
Do you think Cruz is just going to backpedal to?
I sincerely hope that. I mean, I think he has to recuse himself during that Senate trial because he is one of the seditionists. He helped Trump. He gave a speech that morning. He was fired up. I've never seen Ted Cruz give a speech like that. Um, he was a part of that. So yeah, backpedal. I think he gets tossed eventually, marginalized. I've been reading that a lot of the Democratic members of the House of Reps and the Senate are genuinely angry and like there's real rancor between them and their colleagues. They feel that their colleagues tried to get them killed. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez revealed her story last night. She
Wow,
thought she was going to
that was
die.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, she thought she was going to die. And a lot of hate has been directed at her, and of course it comes from like the highest place. But like I say, on the bright side, a country of 330 million, and sometimes you feel like they're maniacs. Only 15,000 showed up, so it's really not that bad. And they just need a law or two to keep like some of the things that Trump did there. The appointments he made during the last 3 months of his presidency should never have been allowed to happen, and that's why people didn't answer the call that day on January the 6th. Some of the things he did, at least according to the stories that what I can discern, and he should never have been allowed to do that. So they need a couple laws, but basically process worked. Process took him out, and I don't think he understood how that was going to work. Like watching that guy like rail against the virus like it was a political opponent was mind-boggling.
I really think it should be properly named as the Trump virus.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no. I've been hashtagging Trump virus for months. Yes, it absolutely is, and that's what's been missing. And that's one of the reasons that this pandemic has gone on this long is because in every crisis in the 20th century, from 1917 on, the United States was there to contribute or to lead. They were always there, and they always, and in that regard, in any major crisis, they were helpful. There was a reason, why their standing in the world was what it was. We didn't have them there this time to lead because Trump dismantled their pandemic response. So there was no unified response. So you have a scattershot response to this virus across the world, and some things worked and a lot of things didn't. And there was no leadership, and there was no one path and one way to do it. And people were talking about the Swedish model for a little while, and which was remarkably insane to me because the death rate in Sweden was 11 times the death rate in Norway. 11 times the death
11
rate.
times. Yeah.
11 times. It's insane. But that was a model to emulate, and it turns out it wasn't. But you get all this credulousness from the media. It's tough. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of the reasons why, if I do comedy, I want to do it with somebody. I want to do something silly. I'm not kidding. It's like,
But you're a steamroller on stage, Karl.
yeah,
You
I
you
know.
gotta think that you are like when you get going, like you have that energy, you have that charisma on stage, and you have that knowledge that you're not. I mean, you need a
That's
George
it.
Burns with you, just somebody to
Yeah.
say, so
Mm.
Gracie, how was your day? And then at the end of it, well, say goodnight, Gracie, and that's it. Now Mike
Yeah.
Gamache is coming in again. He's saying it's quite telling that all the militia types became somewhat subdued after they saw the insurrection on the 6th would actually incur consequences. Actually, there was 2 FBI agents shot today, trying
Mhm.
to serve an arrest warrant, I believe, in Florida.
Ooh.
The follow-up protests on Sunday before the inauguration fizzled badly. The one in Nevada consisted of one guy, and he was holding up a sign saying, "He lost. Grow up. Go home." Um, but yeah, you not hear about the
The
FBI?
FBI? No, no, I did not. I did not.
I will.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. There's so many guns in that country. It's a bit scary. Uh,
And that yeah, that's the excuse for the police to militarize. But the thing is, they don't want to do it. Uh,
um,
there it is. 9 hours ago. It was 2 FBI agents killed, 3 wounded while serving a warrant in Florida. And so
did one person do the damage, or were they ambushed? What happened?
uh, I'm just taking a quick look at the article right now. They were trying to serve a warrant, prompted a SWAT team to storm an apartment building where the suspect, so it's singular, was holed up as neighbors huddled inside their homes. The suspect is also dead. So yeah, they call it one of the bloodiest days in FBI history. So I don't
Wow.
know how that compares to Waco, but
Wow. These people, some of these weapons are crazy.
yeah.
They use semi-automatic weapons and yeah, assault. Well, they call them assault weapons. I think some of the gun nuts get really pissed off if you
Okay,
call it an
and
assault rifle.
this was not in relation to the insurrection
Well,
because
what's in relation
I
to?
it was a case involving child pornography and violent crimes against children.
Oh my. Okay. Um. Okay. So basically, it was QAnon.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, conspiracy theory. I have my own conspiracy theories. I hate conspiracy theories, but I hate actually having a pet conspiracy theory. So, how about you? I mean, everything is happening in front of us, so I find it hard to actually worry about conspiracy theories. You know what I mean?
Well, it's I think the
Uh,
fact
I,
that it's so easy to mock conspiracy theories,
yeah.
sort of, it helps build that binary, that it builds that separation between people. Because if we don't have the chance to say, okay, why do you believe this, and attempt to educate them, then they get more susceptible to other conspiracy theories. If we look at it, we look at the, you and I know, like, the father of the modern flat Earth movement. Like,
But no,
we
he's
know this
not.
person.
He's not the father though. That's the whole
He's not
thing.
the father, but the father of the
Oh,
modern flat Earth
well, yeah,
movement.
well, no, actually, they foisted that upon him in a documentary. It was hilarious because I mean, like this, what Math Powerland,
Yeah.
yeah, Math Powerland decided one day that he was going to be the man on the moon, and so his entire life was a joke. That was just it. It was just, and so conspiracy theories, he loved them all, and. With that movement, though, he created a couple of videos because he went and looked and to see what was done to make the film 2001, and kind of used that as the basis of his conspiracy theory, and away we go. So in the documentary, it's actually hilarious because they called him, like you said, like the father or the leader of the movement, and he tried to reach them and he tried to convince them that he wasn't, that it was a joke. But nobody would back up the fact that it was just
Really?
all a
Because
joke. The
I've
only
actually
person
heard
that
from his
knows,
mouth the opposite.
oh, dude, I was there when he decided he was going to turn his light. He was going to be the
Oh,
man in the moon.
oh, no, I knew that. I knew
Oh,
that.
okay,
Like, because he was doing routines about, like, various different conspiracy theories, and he was always filming them. And
right,
then his flat Earth ones caught on, and it made him
yeah.
money.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There are millions of hits. Amazing.
Yeah, and so he saw that as a means to get money, and so he worked it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah.
and unfortunately, like, he is an incredibly talented, incredibly smart person. He
Well, I
managed.
look, the smart you can throw out the window, but yeah, he definitely had a lot of talent. So, yeah, no, he was he spent a lot of his time, all that smarts, making other people dumber,
Yeah,
and it's unforgivable. It's not forgivable in this world. He
yeah,
made the world a worse place deliberately.
yeah.
But it was funny. It was hilarious how everybody just bought right into it, and yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah,
It's
and then he could go to Colorado and paint women's breasts. It's fabulous. What a life. Do you know this about him?
I know a little bit about his painting exploits, but
Yeah,
most
his
of his
painting.
floors.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he's actually um, um,
he's a
um,
dad now.
he's a dad. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
that was the
okay.
big thing why he was upset with the Beyond the Curve documentary, is because uh, because his girlfriend was pregnant, and now this was threatening his livelihood, which was feeding this conspiracy theory.
Well, he should. He should. Can I swear? Because he should go fuck himself.
Yeah,
Yeah, every which way, but but loose. Yeah, there's just it was funny because well, one day I chanced upon a thread where he was on trying to tell somebody that it was a joke, and yeah, I started to write, hey, I was there when he did the man, and then I thought, screw that.
hmm.
I'm not telling anybody. I told you, and the 12 people who will watch this, don't tell anyone. Let this guy twist in the wind, man.
So, what is your hope for the future?
That he twists in the wind. I think we just covered that. My hope for the future, I really don't know. Honest to God, I feel like there needs to be a reset of some kind. But capitalism is pretty rapacious. You got to feed the beast all the time. Never lets go. And it's got its teeth in us. I don't know. I think we need to change culturally speaking. A lot of that stuff you mentioned, oh, we're racist. Yeah, all that stuff like migrates over here. You're talking about American culture. A lot of that stuff is here too, right?
Yeah.
It's migrated to Canada. And it's because they've set us against each other. There's like for some reason there's a culture war. We're still arguing about abortion. It's insane to me. They were arguing about this when I was like a child in the 1960s, and it was in newspapers. And we've had vote after vote after vote after vote on abortion in Western societies, and people always vote to let people. It's your choice. It's your damn choice. It's up to you. Most people think it's icky. There's a lot of that. Ooh, it's icky. I don't want to hear about it, but it's icky. But we voted again and again and again, and yet they still fight about it. We still have to hear about it. I don't ever want to hear another frickin' like anything about abortion. And what? One of the weirdest things to me is in the United States, like the anti-abortion movement. They said, "Oh, they've killed 30 million babies." What? 30 million? They've killed them. You don't think your God is going to take care of those little baby souls? You don't trust your God? You have no faith? What's the matter with you? You didn't kill anybody. Little zygote cells multiplying. Oh, look, the cells, they're not multiplying anymore.
But Trump used stem cells, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah. Actually, stem cells is the third rail in politics in Missouri. It's hilarious. Actually, in some places in the United States, they go bananas over stem cells and the politics of that. Yeah. So you're my host for the future. Yeah, people stop going bananas over that stuff, and just, I don't know, science. The only thing that refutes science is better science, and peer reviewed. People weirdly in this era think that their opinions are of value. Opinions, man, they're really not. And people say, oh, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. No, my asshole is useful. Okay, I would die if it didn't work. My opinion, everybody would live for fucking ever. One way or the other, it doesn't matter. And the same for everyone else's opinion too. There's science and data, and everything else is cant and vanity. I stole that line, cant and vanity, from Nicholas Nickleby. There you go.
Mike Mash is popping in to say, here's an idea. Don't want an abortion? Don't get one. Otherwise, fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much, right? But we've voted again and again and again, and it always comes up, one way. That people like the majority of people say, it's up to you, and it's always single issue people, and we end up in this long ass culture war with these people, and divided and conquered at each other's throats, and it's ridiculous, that's why we can't get real reform or like the banks are eating us all alive. The banks are going to own the entire world before this is all over. They have all our money. They don't pay interest on that money, and they can compete with us in the marketplace. When I say us, I mean people with actual money. Yeah, we have like we could all agree that wasn't a good thing, like people on the right, but they're too busy yelling about abortion and I don't know, libtards and whatever. So we never get to agree on things that we probably really would agree on if we could, if the issues were laid out and
have communication. Yeah.
Yeah, they were clearly stated. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Your comedy. I miss comedy, dude. I miss being on stage. I miss talking to people. Yeah.
This laugh a minute that we've been doing.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Because no, I can't. Can you? Can you spend you be lighthearted and gay? Like pandemic isn't going on. Attempted insurrection and fascism they're still rolling, those idiots. I mean, those morons are still doubling down until they're punished. They're going to keep doubling down, and if you don't punish them, the lesson from the 20th century, wants to take lessons from the 20th century, is that they said to Hitler, "Oh, that push that you failed at, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it." And then he did it right, a few years later, and then World War II.
Yeah.
So you have to punish these people. This is like a big moment in history. I mean, I don't know. What do you want to giggle about?
I want to giggle about the right things happening. That's what I want to giggle about. I want that relief. That.
Yeah.
Is there? All right. This is a deeper question. Something I've never asked anyone else.
Okay.
Is there comedy without pain?
Oh yeah, no, of course not. Of course not. That is the thing, right? I mean, somebody slips on a banana peel, he gets hurt. I mean, that's gotta hurt. When you're up in the air, you're so high, and then you land flat. Ouch! but watching it is hilarious. So I think always pain, somebody's pain. I remember somebody in the late '90s wanting to do comedy without pain, and I didn't understand the concept. Somebody's getting hurt. Uh, that's what we're laughing at. We're laughing at our own foibles, and these things are painful sometimes, right?
I think that might be is that the note we're ending on? These
No,
things.
no, no,
No.
no. They don't like. There's pain in there, right? And so we're trying to mitigate that pain. We're trying to make it better. We're trying to assuage it. We're trying to, by laughing at ourselves, by not taking it, by I don't know, not taking ourselves too seriously. Not, we're all fools. We're all just primates.
We're
Um,
all just monkeys throwing around our shit. Mike
um,
Mash is saying if there's one lesson in the pandemic has brought forth in this, there's far more stupid people around than we were previously aware of. I think everybody has the same capacity for stupid.
yeah.
Everybody
Oh, yeah. No.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Some
Well,
of us
yeah.
indulge more than others, but all of
Yeah.
us have our stupid moments.
Yeah, yeah, no, what's in other humans is also in us. The things that we hate in other humans are generally things that are buried in us and we can't stand in ourselves. And yeah, it doesn't have to be like one whole like big judge fest, right? Because like, yeah, you did that terrible thing, but I know I could do that terrible thing given the right circumstances or if I was pushed in a certain way. It's in us, some of these things. So that's what we have to address. Like these things that are in us that we'd like to no longer be in us, and we'd like to rise above, It's like and it's not just, the people on the other side of the political fence. It's all of us. We all have these things in us. And I don't know. I think on our side of the fence, I think we're more honest about it and less repressed. And that's why it doesn't, we act out less. Not that some of us don't, but less. With those guys, it's always, anti-gay pastors, having sexual affairs with. It's just so weird, All the things that they hate are the things that they do, that they always get caught doing.
Yeah.
At least we admit it, I like to suck cock. What the hell, Go with it
Mm.
if that's your thing.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that we don't repress these things allows us to be happier, and since we're happier, we don't appear to be as driven. Uh,
Yeah, it's true. It does allow us, yeah, yeah, lost me, yeah, yeah, at
we're
ease with ourselves.
yeah we're
Yeah,
we're we're less driven than those people who are miserable and hate themselves.
less driven. I guess I don't know. There's so many of us, though, Paul. There's 7.8 billion. That number like boggles my mind regularly. We're sharing the planet with 7.8 billion souls. They all have opinions. They all have ideas, their own way of, yeah, yeah. It's a
Probably
bit of a
means that
conundrum.
this is a good time to put that phone number up, the suicide prevention hotline. If you are in need and in Canada, that's the number. Just thinking that there might be too many people. Don't reduce that number personally.
No, yeah, no, yeah. Suicide prevention. That's about depression, right? It's hard to get a depressed person to pick up the phone, but it's a good idea, though.
Yeah.
If you are depressed, just to reach out to just anybody, let them know. Um,
It's
yeah,
also a good idea to reach out to your friends who you haven't talked to in a while, thanks to the pandemic.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
you know,
That's a super suggestion. I don't do that enough.
just try to reach and be with everybody that you can be. I know that sounded very much like that, post-COVID orgy you were describing. Reach
Oh
out and be with
yeah,
as many people as you
we
possibly
were
can.
onto something there. That was a better direction post the
Yeah,
pandemic.
so do you think the like alcohol in the 1920s it's going to be MDMA in the 2020s for
I
the
don't
the,
know
the
about
roaring
this.
hmm?
Well, that would certainly make this decade roar if everybody started dropping that.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's a guess, but I think people will want to gather in groups and stand up. Maybe stand up will be harder than ever. Maybe theater, maybe certainly music. I'm sure everybody misses music. Good
Yeah.
gravy, live music. That experience, and
Only
yeah,
so many times you can dance in the kitchen, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do dance. It's a great idea. It's how you keep fit during the pandemic. Just dance, pick up light weights, and yeah, yeah, turn on Janet Jackson. a little bit of pop bliss there. Yeah.
What are your guilty pleasures? Well, let's sign off. What is your guilty pleasures, Karl? What are the things
Um,
that bring you joy during this lockdown?
um, I've been playing. Well, yeah, no, I can't. That's a
No,
good
no, say it.
question. I mean, I've read I reread a couple of books. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, all 5 volumes of the trilogy. Um, um, I reread a couple of books, so those were nice. I've been playing chess just to kill time. I watched that chess movie with the
The Queen's
girl.
Gambit.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
Anya
the
Taylor
camera.
Joy.
Well, the cameraman was in love with her. I mean, yeah, yeah. There were so many. There was so much cheesecake there. Yeah, I did enjoy it though. It was fun, and so because of it, I've been playing chess, enjoying it. But guilty pleasures. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like in the summer, it was easy. In the winter, it's hard. In the summer, I would go up on top of of the roof of my garage and and have a cigarette, and just look around. I can see kind of like the neighborhood from up there. I have a porch on top of my garage, and um, I don't know. I don't know if I should be guilty about that, but I like that. I mean, I don't do anything to be guilty about anymore, Paul. I'm 64. Everything I do to be guilty like hurts me. I'm the first person who gets hurt. You know what I mean? Like I bought Krispy Kreme donuts a week and a half ago. I bought a dozen for the house. That's guilty and dangerous.
Vices are their own innate punishments. Is it? Who
It's,
said that?
they haven't. I don't know. That sounds like G.K. Chesterton or something. I don't know. I don't even know who that is, by the way. It's a name in my head.
I'll have to look that up. All right.
Paul,
Usually
thanks
when
for
I get
calling
silent,
me.
it's just because I don't want people to know how much of an idiot I am.
Oh yeah, no, look, yeah. I actually I was trying to think of Oliver. Oh, I forget. I don't know. I don't know about you, but like I actually wanted to talk about this. I actually thought this was funny. Like I find myself in outer space when I'm out in public with my mask on. I find myself kind of like just a bit spacier than I've ever been in life. Like it's like I'm weirdly like high, like when I was 13, and everything just giddy and weird and um, um,
Sort of
it's affecting.
surreal. Like
Yeah, it's weird. I talk to myself out loud under the mask a lot. I think I was telling you that. I really do. I talk to myself like before the pandemic. If I started to talk to myself, I would like realize and I would stop and just clear my throat, pretend it didn't happen. But now yeah, full paragraphs come out before I realize I'm talking to myself, and nobody cares anymore. I do like that aspect of the pandemic. People just don't care. I used to, every time I would sing in public, I sing all the time wherever I go. I get all these earworms, and people would always comment on it. With the mask on, nobody comments on it. I can just sing. It's nice. There you go. There's a guilty pleasure. I'm annoying people with my singing, but I love it, and it's the only way I can get rid of earworms, anyways, is to sing the damn things out.
sing the full thing.
Yeah, the whole
I want to.
beginning to end. The yellow jester does not play, but gently pulls the strings. Yeah.
This hour has kind of flown by. Karl,
I don't believe that for a minute, but thank you so much, Paul. You're like a great host, and just the nicest person. Definitely someone I miss. Yeah, we will hug it out when I see you next time.
yeah, full on hug slut. All right, Karl, it's been a pleasure. People
Thank you,
can
Paul.
find you. Well, if they search for Your Media Sucks.
I will know. I'm gonna change the name of the show to Your Media Bias, and I should show up there within the next month over at CJLO. They have tons of shows there. I should plug that station. They do great work, and they're really involved in helping promote Montrealers, particularly musicians. They do really good work over there. I'm a big fan of those people.
Okay, so CJLO is that's what's on the screen right now. Your Media
Yeah,
Bias is the new
yeah,
title that's on there.
yeah.
On Twitter you are pounding_nails.
Oh no, I'm not on Twitter. I got kicked off on Twitter forever for
Oh,
calling the First Lady of the United States, and I wasn't wrong, a whore. I called her a bought and paid for trophy wife, and some other words because I was triggered. Trump that day compared her to Jacqueline Onassis, and I lost my mind. I needed a stage that night. I lost my mind, so I just started tweeting like stuff at the lady and all her naked pictures and stuff. I had them all in a file somewhere.
all right.
Not because I like look at them. I mean, like she's like stone faced porn lady. She's frightening to look at. But anyhow, um,
They haven't
um,
separated yet, have they?
no, no. I think they're birds of a feather. I really do. I think she's perfectly horrible, and he's
Hmm.
perfectly horrible. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be in misery forever. At least one can hope. But anyway, yes. So they kicked me off Twitter forever and ever, Paul.
All right. But you still have Instagram?
No, I do not have Instagram. In the future, I may have some of these things. I've actually created a fake account there so I can follow some things on Twitter. I didn't tell you it was Pierre Johnson. It's
Oh,
like a
all
whole
right.
bunch of. It's got a whole bunch of numbers beside it too. I don't even know what the numbers are. It's like about 7 numbers or something. I don't know why it popped up. Some sort of algorithm did it for me, and next thing
So
I know, I had an account. But I'm being
people
really nice. Nobody's a
people can
whore.
follow you though, find you on Facebook still. You are not
People can
completely
follow me on Facebook, but yeah, and but I will be putting up radio shows. So look for that. Look for media bias because yeah, I was actually pretty good at finding like stories about just media bias, just the way it's manipulated. We're manipulated. It's hard not to be.
Mhm.
We all get it. It's like I love the guy who says to you, "Yeah, I can't be influenced by media. I can't be influenced by commercials." And you open his fridge and he's got French's mustard and Heinz ketchup, and we're all influenced.
You just oh man, Repo Man,
What?
the movie Repo Man.
Oh,
Do
I
you
love
remember
that
the
movie.
movie Repo Man
Yes, the original one with Martin
with
Sheen's
Harry
son
Dean
there.
Stanton, Emilio Estevez?
Yeah, Emilio Estevez. There you go.
Yeah, the but all the stores, all the shops, everything was just white labels.
Yeah.
And no name brands, etc. Like the cans of beer that just said beer. Great.
That was a fun little movie. Yeah.
It definitely,
Um,
definitely is.
hope it all goes your way, Paul. Thanks so much.
And wishing you the best, Karl. We're just going to end this, and as it ends, we'll be able to stay and chat maybe a little bit after. All right, here we
Okay.
go. Thank you all for tuning in.